From India's top court giving Anant Ambani's giant zoo a clean slate to Washington and Delhi quietly patching up after a bruising tariff war. The stories today are heavy with power and politics. Railways is shutting out touts with Aadhaar-only ticketing. Jaishankar and Rubio are gearing up for a high-stakes handshake in New York. And in Gaza, Israel has rolled out its tanks into the city, while Trump fumes over being kept in the dark. Well, these aren't just headlines, they are turning points. Let's break it down. Good morning. Welcome to Top of the Morning by Mint. I'm your host, Nelson John. This is your smart daily briefing on what matters. From big moves in business to headlines shaping India and the world, we cut through the noise so you start your day informed and ahead. It's Tuesday, September 16th. Let's get started. India's Supreme Court just delivered a sweeping victory for Vantara, the massive private zoo owned by Anant Ambani, son of Asia's richest man, Mukesh Ambani. A special investigation team found no foul play in how the 3,500-acre facility acquired and managed its 2,000 animal species. The court didn't just clear Vantara, it slammed the door on future complaints. No further complaint or proceedings based upon such same set of allegations shall be entertained before any judicial, statutory or administrative forum, the bench declared. Here's what triggered this mess. Wildlife activists and lawyers filed petitions alleging Vantara illegally smuggled animals, laundered money, and violated wildlife protection laws. The facility, located near Ambani's world's largest oil refinery in Gujarat, became a lightning rod for criticism over its hot and dry climate being unsuitable for many animals. The investigation was thorough. A team led by former Supreme Court Judge Jasit Chalameswar conducted field visits and worked with multiple agencies including the CBI, Enforcement Directorate and customs authorities. They examined everything from wildlife protection laws to money laundering regulations and international trade conventions. What this really means is the Ambani family's conservation project, which hosted Anant's lavish pre-wedding celebrations that made global headlines, is now legally bulletproof. Senior advocate Harish Salve, representing Vantara, emphasized maintaining commercial confidentiality around what he called a one-of-its-kind facility. The court was particularly harsh on the petitioners, saying repeated inquiries had culminated with findings of no violation of law whatsoever. It called continued complaints as abuse of the process. Vantara welcomed the decision, saying it allows their work to speak for itself in serving those who cannot speak for themselves. After weeks of tension, India and the US are sitting down for trade talks again. The discussions resumed today with Washington's chief negotiator Brendan Lynch flying into New Delhi. Here's what happened. Back in August, the US slapped an additional 25% tariff on Indian goods as punishment for buying Russian oil. That brought the total US tariffs on India to a hefty 50%, making India one of America's most penalized trading partners. The original trade talks scheduled for August 25th got shelved because of this mess. But things are looking up. Commerce Secretary Sunil Bhartwal struck an optimistic tone, saying there is a positive frame of mind in both countries with respect to trade issues. The talks are happening at multiple levels: diplomatic, ministerial, and between chief negotiators. Lynch will meet India's Special Secretary Rajesh Agrawal to tackle long-standing issues like market access, investment rules, and supply chain problems. Now, what this really means is that both countries want to move past the Russian oil dispute and focus on deeper economic ties. The timeline is ambitious. Both leaders want the first part of a trade deal wrapped up by fall 2025. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi expressed confidence on September 10th that negotiations would reach an early conclusion. Agrawal was realistic about expectations. It will not be the sixth round of negotiations, but rather discussions on the trade talks and try to see how we can reach an agreement. While virtual meetings have been happening weekly, progress has been slow. The stakes are high. India has been diversifying its trading partnerships, including with China, as these US trade talks stalled. Here's some news for all you train travelers. Starting October 1st, you will need Aadhaar authentication to book reserved general tickets online during the crucial first 15 minutes when IRCTC opens bookings. The Railways announced this major change on Monday, saying it's cracking down on ticket touts and ensuring fair access for genuine passengers. Now here's the thing. Since July, only Aadhaar-verified users could book Tatkal tickets online. From July 15th, even railway counters and authorized agents need OTP verification for Tatkal bookings. The numbers tell the story of why this matters. In just 6 months, the railways blocked 24 million user accounts and flagged another 2 million as suspicious for misusing the Tatkal system. Now, that's massive fraud happening right under everyone's noses. Our focus is to ensure fair access to tickets and deliver the benefits of the scheme to genuine users, a railway ministry official explained. What this really means is those first 15 minutes when tickets are most available will now be reserved for verified Indian citizens only. Let's break this down. Out of IRCTC's 130 million registered users, only 12 million are currently Aadhaar authenticated. That means roughly 118 million users will need to verify their identity or wait until after the first 15 minutes window to book online. The good news, railway counters and other booking channels remain unchanged. Authorized agents are still banned from booking during the first 10 minutes of general reservations as before. Railways has instructed CRIS and IRCTC to update their systems and told zonal railways to publicize the change. Now, for millions of travelers, this could mean the difference between getting that train ticket or being left on the platform. A powerful cloudburst struck Dehradun this morning, turning the normally peaceful Tamsa River into a raging torrent that completely submerged the ancient Tapkeshwar Mahadev temple. The India Meteorological Department immediately issued a red alert for Dehradun and Teri Gharwal until 9 a.m. Temple priest Acharya Bipin Joshi watched helplessly as water rose around 5 a.m., swallowing the entire temple complex. The red alert warns of rainfall exceeding 15 millimeters per hour, combined with thunderstorms and brutal winds reaching 87 kilometers per hour. The Himalayas are no strangers to these sudden disasters. Just Saturday, 10 vehicles were buried under debris in Himachal Pradesh's Bilaspur district after another cloudburst triggered flash floods. Crops were destroyed and roads became rivers in minutes. What this really means is monsoon season in the hills have become increasingly unpredictable and violent. Last August, a massive cloudburst in Uttarakhand's Dharali village killed several people when the Khirganga river turned deadly. Witnesses compared it to the horrific 2021 Chamoli disaster that claimed over 200 lives. Well, these aren't just weather events anymore. They're becoming annual catastrophes. The mountains that draw millions of pilgrims and tourists are also becoming increasingly dangerous as climate patterns shift and extreme weather becomes the norm. Gaza City is being pounded with relentless airstrikes as Israel's war on the Palestinian territory approaches its third devastating year. The fresh bombardment came just a day after U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio visited Jerusalem and threw America's full support behind Israel's assault on Hamas. Witnesses describe scenes of destruction across Gaza City, with homes destroyed and residents trapped under rubble. Gaza Civil Defense spokesperson Mohammed Basal painted a grim picture. Bombing is still ongoing heavily across Gaza City and the number of deaths and injuries continues to rise. Now here's what happened on the ground. Israeli forces are executing their plan to occupy Gaza City. A ground offensive that Axios reported began Monday, citing Israeli officials. The goal is simple but brutal: root out Hamas completely from the Palestinian territory. The human costs keep climbing. At least 16 Palestinians died in strikes on 2 homes and a displacement tent housing a family. A 16-floor building on the city's west side was reduced to rubble after Israel warned displaced families sheltering inside to evacuate, claiming it hid terror infrastructure. Rubio's message from Jerusalem was crystal clear. While saying they'll explore diplomatic ways to end the war, he essentially gave Israel a green light to continue. We also have to be prepared for the possibility that's not going to happen, Rubio said, calling Hamas savage terrorists. What this really means is America isn't pushing for an immediate ceasefire. Instead, Rubio demanded Hamas cease to exist as an armed element that can threaten peace and security. The timing speaks volumes. Heavy bombing immediately after the U.S. top diplomat visit sends a clear signal about America's priorities in this conflict. That's all for today. Thank you for joining in. We are eagerly looking forward to our next Top of the Morning episode, which will be packed with the latest news. Until then, this is Nelson John signing off. Have a great day.